Hi mate, hope you well and welcome to your lesson. So let's explain this data because I know it can get a little bit confusing. So when we're looking at face angle, club path, face to path, well actually let's just go with the first two. Face angle and club path. Now for a right-handed golfer, you would often see that people go, okay, if you're swinging to the right, it's going to be positive, and if you're swinging to the left or the face is pointing to the left, the number's going to be negative. And it's exactly the same for a left-hander. What you have to interpretate is what those numbers mean in terms of a ball flight. So it's exactly the same in terms of if your club is 1 degree positive, it doesn't matter if you're a left-hander or a right-hander, it means that your club face is pointing 1 degree to the right of target. Same as if you come down here and you see my club face is minus 1.5, it doesn't matter if you're a lefty or a righty, your club face is pointing 1.5 degrees left of target. Now, the real difference, and it's the same with the path. So if it's 4.3 degrees positive, that means you're swinging to the right of target. So look at it in terms of the lefts and right. So positive is to the right, negative is to the left. Now, the thing that's different is these numbers here. So normally, if you have a face that is close to the path, well, that's for a right-handed golfer. That's where you start to see, okay, wait, hold on a second. Minus is closed, positive is open. That applies to a right-handed golfer. For a left-handed golfer, it's the opposite. If your face is minus relative to the path, so you can see this one, your club face is pointing 1.2 degrees right of target, but your club path is going an extra 2.3 degrees right of target. That technically means that your club face for you as a lefty is 1.1 degrees open. So where you see a minus number for face to path, you are going to see the ball likely fade. When you see a positive number like that one in the face to path, you're going to see more of a draw shape. Obviously, the bigger the number, regardless if it's minus or positive, the more curvature you're going to see. But that's sort of what we are expecting to see with those numbers. And again, that's just where it gets a little confusing. So see, when it comes to face angle and club path, if it's positive, it means it's going to the right of target. If it's negative, it means it's going to the left of target in both of these situations. The only one that then becomes a little bit different is the relationship between the two is the face to path. For a left-handed golfer like yourself, if it is a negative, it means the ball is more likely going to be fading. If it is a positive number, it is more likely a draw shot. So that is just the two things that you just got to be careful with when looking at this. Now, in terms of looking at the data, for me, the club path on average, 1.9 to the right with irons is okay. I don't think irons are too bad right now. I would like to maybe just make sure that we can make that number as tight as possible. I would probably like to see it more around 2 to 3 degrees. So you'll be swinging 2 to 3 degrees out to in for you, so to the right. And I would want to see the consistency. So if you see that consistency be 1.3 there, that means your sort of variance is 1.3 either side. I would like to see that be as tight as possible. So you can sort of see here, if you look at your consistency number over here for club speed, you can see your average is 83.1 miles an hour, but your variance is 0.6 of a mile an hour, which means your speed is very, very consistent. I really want to see that club path, the variance be less than a degree. That's always my goal, is less than a degree, because that means you've got really good control over your club path. Now, if we just point out the ones that I don't like, it's these ones, where it's a 0.9, 0.3, 0.9. It basically just doesn't give you enough margin for error to fade the ball back. So as a byproduct, if you leave the face open on that situation like you did there, you're going to hit a shot that goes a long way kind of left, because the ball's going to start in this situation, it's going to start left of target and then cut even further away. So it didn't give you enough margin for error to hit a fade. This one here is basically going to be a dead straight shot. So this one right here is basically going to be a dead straight shot. And the reason for that is the face and the path are really matched up. So again, if we want to hit fades, or if anything, we want to make sure that our bad is sort of an overfade, then we want to be seeing more severe sort of path numbers. We need them to be more like these, 2.3, 2.7, even a 4.3 0.3 is not the end of the world. I mean, granted, this one you left the face pretty much at the target, so we would have started at target and cut off. But really, my favorite shots out of these are shot 2 and shot 3. You can see you've got a really nice sort of club face, club path. The face is going to be producing more of that sort of fade shot because of the relationship to the path. So that's ideal for me there. Now, if I come up to the driver swings, this is where, so overall I would say irons are good. We just got to get more consistent with it. Driver swings is where we get a little in trouble. So here's where we've got to get a lot tighter with the numbers right here, because you can see if we look at the numbers down the bottom, so face angle on average is 0.2. Now that might sound really good, but it brings in a big 2A miss, because that means on average your face is pointing pretty much dead at target. So that means if your path is then to the right, that means you're going to hit a ball that starts at target and cuts away from target. If your path is left, that means the ball's going to start at target and then draw away from the target. So that basically means that all your shots are starting at target, but then they're working away from the target, which is never what we want to see. Now, you have quite a bit of variance, 1.9, 1.6 right there. So what we've got to get a lot better at is controlling these. So we need to put you more towards a pattern. Now, for me, with your bad shot being a sort of low hook right, we've got to fix that with building in a shape that's going to be more consistent. So for me, what I need to see from you is I need to see club paths that are like this right here. I need to see club paths that are about 2 to 3 degrees in to out. Oh, sorry, out to in for you. So this one's good. This one's good. And that's about it. Maybe I'll call this one pretty good as well, just for this situation. Besides that, we never want to see a club path that is minus. So remember, minus for you is that, well, for everyone is that the path is going left of target. So you can see you have half of your club paths going left of target. We never ever want that. So for you, because obviously with driver, we're hitting up on this golf ball here, we want to feel like we're hitting up and to the right. Up and to the right, that's the key. Now for irons, because we're obviously hitting a little bit more down on it, and you can see that right there, look at these numbers, down, 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 which is good. We would want to be feeling like we're hitting more down and to the right. That's crucial. Now, to then make sure that we leave the face slightly open to the path to help us hit that little bit of a fade, what we're then going to do is work on a little feeling today in order to help you sort of just leave that face slightly more open. So we're going to keep today super simple in what I give you in terms of exercises before we start to move on to body parts, because I just want to get you used to sort of understanding that you've got to swing right and leave the face slightly open to the path to get it to cut back. Then from there, we're going to talk about, okay, how can we then move your body more efficiently to help you achieve those numbers? So very simply today, what I'm going to get you to do, because you're doing a good job with your irons, the key thing I'm going to get you to do today is just give you a really simple exercise to help you feel what it feels like to get your path moving a little bit more sort of out to in. So a little bit more like 2 or 3 degrees, which I always think is a really good relationship right there, to get you moving this club a little bit better and a little bit more exiting sort of right for you. So you want to feel like your hands sort of exit right on the way through, and you can leave that face a little bit more open just to help us hit that little cut shot. Again, that's going to be the same thing for drivers, going to be the same thing for everything. The biggest difference is that when it comes to the driver is that you'll be feeling like you hit up and to the right, versus with an iron, you're going to be feeling like you hit more down and to the right. Now, the second thing I'm going to give you is basically just a smaller version of this toe tap, because I know we've been working on this, but I want to give you something that's less intrusive. So I'm going to give you a second variation of this right here. So as much as today's not going to be super technical, it's more about understanding what we're trying to achieve in terms of data, in terms of club paths, things like that. So that way you can sort of pair feels and stuff up with, okay, this is what I'm trying to achieve. So for us, it's going to be essentially a club path that's about 2 or 3 degrees to the right, so positive. We then want to leave the face maybe about 1 degree to 1.5 degrees open relative to that path. So when I say open for you, that is your club face would want to be pointing slightly to the left of where your path is going, and that's going to give you that beautiful fade back, and that's going to prevent you from hitting that ball low and to the right. Now it's going to be exactly the same for driver. Like I said, the only difference is you're going to be hitting up on the ball rather than down on the ball. So let's jump over this little and jump over to the final video and talk about this little changing feeling with the right foot. And then from there, we're going to talk about just a nice simple exercise to help you start to understand, okay, what are we looking to see an impact in terms of where the path should go, where the face should be. Paul, hope you're well and welcome to your lesson. So today what we're doing is refining the motion that we did last time with the toe tap, giving you a slightly different variation. Then from there, we're explaining the numbers and explaining what we want to see it impact with some simple feels, because I want to start with feels rather than going to bigger sort of body movements, because feels are what you play with on a golf course. So it's really important you understand the correct feels to have. So TrackMan data wise, I tried to explain that down for you. It's still the same thing when it comes to club face and club path. The number that changes depending on if you're a right-handed or left-handed golfer is the face to path and how that essentially creates curvature, and what we then term a draw and a fade. So for a fader, a drawer, a left-handed and right-handed golfer, anytime you see a TrackMan number that is positive, that means the path or the face is pointing to the right or traveling to the right of target. Now that can be obviously over the top or in to out, depending on if you're a left-hander or a right-hander, but it still means that at the point of contact, it's still traveling to the right at impact. The thing that changes is the face-to-path relationship. So anytime you see a minus number for the face-to-path relationship for a right-handed golfer, that is your conventional draw shape, because that means the club face is coming back close to the path. With a left-hander, it means the opposite. It means if the face is minus, it means it's actually coming back open to the path. That's giving you more of that fade situation. So we want to see that. Now, I've written down below a couple of numbers for you. I want to see your club path around 2 or 3 degrees positive. I then want to see your face around 1 degree to 1.5 degrees positive. And then as a byproduct, you'll see that your face to path relationship will be minus, meaning your face for you as a lefty will be open to the path. That's going to give us that fade shape. Now, why have I chosen a fade, or why have I suggested a fade? Number one, the height of the shot. I know in the past you've struggled with hitting it low. A fade with the impact conditions it's providing for you has given you that height. Really important. Number two is if you think about your bad shot is a low sort of pulley, snappy hook. Having a fade is going to help you hit the ball a bit higher, but also help you in terms of just getting that shape that we want and safeguard against that bad shot. So let me explain then how we can take the toe tap exercise into something a little bit more practical. Now, rather than physically tap your toe, what are we doing when we're tapping our toe? We're ensuring that the pressure doesn't collapse into the toes, right? The toes in your lead foot. We're making sure that that doesn't happen, because when that happened, it pulled your body forwards and it looked a little groovy. So something that Lee Trevino used to do was he used to lift his toes up in his shoes as a great drill. And you can even do this on the golf course. I've got clients that do this on the golf course. So what I would say is when you're setting up to the ball now, in your lead foot, you don't have to do the tap necessarily. You can do that as a drill. It's a great drill. It's a great feeling to help you with it. But an alternative that we can do is we can simply just lift your left toes up. So imagine your your lead toe. Obviously doing this as a right-handed. So your lead toe, you want to lift those toes up right there. Still lean forward, so don't let yourself sort of fall back into your heels, but still lean forwards and lift the toes up in your lead foot and keep them up just the whole swing. This prevents you going into your toes, and going into your toes is the number one reason why a golfer will either collapse forwards or early extend upwards. So by not going into your toes, you're going to safeguard against that. And just by lifting those toes up is a great way of ensuring that you don't fall forwards towards the golf ball. So you can sort of substitute that. It'll look like your foot's fully flat on the ground. So here's my foot is fully flat on the ground. Here I have my toes up in my shoe. You literally can't tell the difference visually, but when I'm feeling this, my toes are like that in the air. So that then allows me to be able to move without collapsing forwards into my toes. Really crucial there. A little bit less intrusive, will help you take it to the course a little bit easier. Now, in terms of how do we create the club path and the club face that we want to see? So this is where something very simple like an alignment stick can be your best friend, because what we've got to get used to is just understanding what we're trying to achieve kind of at impact and also post impact on the way through. So what I want you to do is grab a golf club or an alignment stick, knock that leaf off, and put it outside of your lead foot. Now, rather than putting it at a dead sort of straight line parallel to the target, I want you to angle it in by 15, 20 degrees, essentially just a little bit, angle it in just slightly. Now, as you do this, now you can even go a little bit more if you want, so maybe about there. Now, as you come down, what I want you to feel like is you come down and you can get your hands exiting a little bit more inside whilst you feel like you keep your club head outside of the line. So what does this do? If I maintain more of that relationship there, you see how it leaves the face a smidge open? That's great for you because that's going to produce the fade, or if anything, like you said, you want your miss to be an over fade, fantastic. Well, that's going to help you with that. So this is ensuring that if our hands are arcing back in, then we are going to find that, okay, the path is going to want to go more left, go more out to in. I won't say left because obviously I'm right-handed, so I say left automatically. It'll want to go more out to in, producing the numbers that we want to see. But it'll also, with this sort of handle going in, club head staying out, it will slow down the club face release, essentially allowing you to stay a little bit more open relative to the path, allowing you to hit that fade. So then you can hit some shots where you go to the top, you come down, as you get to here, you feel like your hands arc in, the club head stays slightly outside of the hands, and then you just allow it to fold up. So we're not having this big old flippy release where the hands sort of work away from us, the club then rolls inside, because that's going to close the face down a lot quicker. Instead, we're going to feel like the hands can arc in, the club head can stay out, and you can sort of see how that club face is matching my spine angle more there. It hasn't released over anywhere near as much. So if I then turn around, I would hit sort of some punchier three-quarter shots, and I would want to ensure that you're hitting those numbers. So we can use number feedback in order to help you develop your feels. So you want to see your club path be about 3 degrees positive, and you want to see your face angle be about 1 to 1.5 degree positive. So you can hit shots on the simulator going, all right, here, for the hands work a little bit more in, and then the club head stay outside. That's going to slow down the release, help me hit that little fade. I've got the toes up in my lead foot here and through, and that's then going to help me. I can really feel like there I'm hitting a bit more of a fade. I feel like my hands are arcing in, the club head staying a little bit outside of my hands. That's going to slow down the face release, and that's going to start to get you hitting a little bit more of a fade. Now, if I grab my driver, it's exactly the same thing with the driver. The only difference is, rather than hitting down and sort of left with an iron, or sorry, down and in with an iron, you are going to be hitting more up and in with a driver. So for you is obviously to the right, so up and right, up and or down and right with an iron, up and right with a driver. But it will be a little bit more of the same feeling, but obviously you're staying behind it to help you hit up on it. The key is the path still roughly stays the same. It's still about 3 degrees positive, and the face is still slightly open. So the numbers we're aiming for are not necessarily different. We're just trying to hit those numbers with a different angle of attack. That's the key difference there. So hence why we're not necessarily going into some massive technique changes in terms of, you know, big body moves and stuff like that. Because if you don't understand the data, then you've got no chance of changing impact. You've got to understand what you're trying to achieve in order to allow you to achieve it, and then from there you can start to layer on top big changes. So hence why I'm starting off with something nice and small here, and this is just going to help you start to slowly implement on top of it. But yeah, this is a really fundamental thing, so give it a go. Understand the data. If you have questions, please ask away, and this is going to start the process of us hitting a fade. Key thing I would always say is, when you are hitting a fade, the ball has to start to the right of target. If it doesn't start to the right of target, your face was too open. And then from there, once it started to the right of target, in order to get it curving back, your path has got to be even more to the right. So just make sure that you are getting that ball starting right of target. If it's not, it means your face is open. You've got to make sure that you can turn everything right through the ball. So you've got to be feeling like you can turn right. That's going to get you into a much better position. And ultimately, yeah, just get you hitting better fades and not seeing that ball sort of dive off as like a pull hook that you hate.